January 1st, 1863. A cold, wintry day in Washington, D. Inside the White House, President Abraham Lincoln signs a document that would go on to reshape the soul of a nation. A single stroke of the pen, yet its echo would ring through history. The Emancipation Proclamation. But what led to this bold decision? Why did Lincoln, a cautious lawyer from Illinois, decide to proclaim freedom for millions of enslaved people during the bloodiest war in American history? This is the story of politics, war, courage, and conscience. This is the story of the Emancipation Proclamation. To truly understand the Emancipation Proclamation, we have to go back, way back. Slavery didn't begin in the 1800s. It was part of America's DNA from the beginning. The first enslaved Africans arrived in Virginia in 1619, forced into a system that treated them as property. By the 18th century, slavery was entrenched, particularly in the southern states. The economy thrived on it: cotton, sugar, tobacco, all harvested by the unpaid labor of millions. It was brutal, dehumanizing, and defended fiercely by Southern elites. Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that His justice cannot sleep forever. Yet, even as the Declaration of Independence proclaimed that all men are created equal, slavery continued to grow. The contradiction was clear, and it would haunt the young nation for decades. By the mid-1800s, the tension between North and South had reached a boiling point. The industrial North began moving away from slavery, while the agricultural South depended on it. Each new state admitted to the Union raised the same question: free or slave? Abraham Lincoln, elected president in 1860, was personally opposed to slavery but took a cautious political stance. He believed slavery was morally wrong, but he also believed the Constitution didn't give him the power to abolish it outright. Quote by Abraham Lincoln: "If slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong. I cannot remember when I did not so think and feel." His election sent shockwaves through the South. Fearing their way of life was under threat, 11 Southern states seceded from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America. The Civil War had begun. When the war began in 1861, Lincoln's primary goal was not to end slavery. It was to preserve the Union. But war changes everything. As casualties mounted, pressure grew from abolitionists, enslaved people escaping to Union lines, and radical Republicans in Congress. Lincoln began to see that ending slavery could weaken the South and strengthen the Union's moral cause. Quote by Frederick Douglass: "We shout for joy that we live to record this righteous decree. Slavery is not abolished until the black man has the ballot." By mid-1862, Lincoln was ready, but he knew he needed a Union victory to give the proclamation real weight. That moment came on September 17, 1862, at the Battle of Antietam, the bloodiest single day in American history. On September 22, 1862, Lincoln issued a preliminary Emancipation Proclamation. It warned that if the rebellious states did not return to the Union by January 1, 1863, their enslaved people shall be thenceforward and forever free. The South ignored it. The North was divided. Some celebrated, others feared it would prolong the war. But Lincoln stood firm. Quote by Lincoln to his cabinet: "I never in my life felt more certain that I was doing right than I do in signing this paper." On New Year's Day, 1863, Lincoln hosted a traditional reception at the White House. After shaking hundreds of hands, his own was trembling from fatigue. Still, he picked up his pen and signed the final Emancipation Proclamation. The proclamation declared that all enslaved people in Confederate territory were free. It didn't immediately end slavery, but it changed the character of the war. The Union was now fighting not only to save the nation, but to free millions. Quote by Lincoln: "If my name ever goes into history, it will be for this act, and my whole soul is in it." The proclamation had immediate effects. Thousands of enslaved people began fleeing southern plantations, seeking refuge with Union troops. Many joined the Union Army. Over 180,000 African Americans would serve by the end of the war. Their service wasn't easy. Black soldiers often faced lower pay, harsher conditions, and racism. But their contribution was crucial and undeniable. Quote by you, colored troops veteran: "We fight for our freedom and we fight for the Union. We are ready to die for both." It's important to be clear. The Emancipation Proclamation didn't free all enslaved people. It applied only to states in rebellion, not to the border states like Kentucky, Missouri, or parts of Louisiana still under Union control. Some criticized Lincoln for this selective approach. Others argued it was purely symbolic. But symbols matter, and this one lit a fire that couldn't be put out. Quote by W. Du Bois: "Emancipation was a process, not a single moment, but this moment was its turning point. The Emancipation Proclamation paved the way for permanent change." In 1865, with the war nearly over, Congress passed the 13th Amendment, abolishing slavery throughout the United States, no exceptions. Lincoln would not live to see the full fruits of his bold decision. He was assassinated in April 1865, but his legacy was sealed. Quote by 13th Amendment: "Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States." The journey to freedom had begun long before Lincoln, and it would continue long after. But with the Emancipation Proclamation, he made the federal government a force for liberation. Today, the Emancipation Proclamation stands as a symbol of justice and courage in the face of division. It's a reminder that leadership matters, and that moral clarity can change the course of history. Its spirit lived on in the civil rights movement, and in every step toward a more just America. Lincoln's bold move helped redefine what freedom means, not just for one group, but for a nation. Quote by Barack Obama: "The arc of the moral universe may bend toward justice, but it doesn't bend on its own. It bends because people like Abraham Lincoln put their hands on it and pull." The Emancipation Proclamation didn't end slavery overnight, but it changed the stakes. It was a promise, a declaration, a vision, and that vision still guides us today. Thanks for watching. If you found the story powerful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And remember, history isn't just about the past. It's about the future we choose to build.